to Korea and all the rest of my students all over the world. That was a little composition I'm working on. My name is Dave Hill, and thanks for tuning into the video. I was just practicing a little bit before the lesson, and just wanted to give you a little bit of stuff to listen to show you how pretty chords can be. That was something that I wrote a long time ago, and it just came out of some pretty chords that I thought sounded nice together, and I've been playing around with it for about 20 years now. But anyway, that's going to be on an album at some point. But let's talk about more chords today, because that's what this course is all about. Rhythm guitar, chords, voicings, how to make a song sound interesting. And it all has to do with knowing our shapes on the neck and knowing how to combine them together and make them sound interesting, and knowing how to really get the most out of our rhythm guitar chords. So up till now, we focused on a few main shapes. We've learned all the cage system chords, meaning these chords right here, the open string chords. Right? And then we converted some of those chords to movable bar chords. Right? If I'm not mistaken, we've learned a shape off of the E form and made it into a movable form, and eventually made it a major seventh shape. So this open form became this bar form, which eventually became a major seventh. Okay, so we've been using that from time to time now. The root is on the sixth string, and the voicing in particular is roots, major seventh, major third, and fifth. Okay, so we're fairly comfortable with that shape. We've also learned a root off the A form from the open A position that became a bar chord like this. And we made that a major seventh chord simply by taking the octave here, dropping it down to the major seventh, and now we've got a movable major seventh chords off the fifth string root. Okay, and a few lessons ago, I believe it was lesson 28, we even talked about the shape from the open D form, right? And we knew that that D form becomes a movable triad shape when we put the root here. And that's a useful chord, but if we wanted to make it a major seventh, it was no harder than dropping this finger down here. And then we've got a major seventh with the root on the fourth string now. Okay, now if you're keeping track of all that, that's only three shapes, right? Three shapes. We've got to learn the other two shapes from the cage system, right? So we've not learned a shape from the G form, and we haven't learned a shape from the C form. Okay, so those are the two forms we're going to focus on in this lesson. Okay, so let's take a look at our board back here, and I'll show you exactly which ones we're working on. As you recall, this is the open C shape. Okay, and I might have even alluded to this in previous lessons, but I'm officially showing it today. Okay, meaning the next shape I'm going to play. Okay, so check it out. When we made this a major seventh, all we had to do was open the first finger up to expose the major seventh. No problem there. But when we want to make it a movable major seventh, we had to create the notes that are essentially the open strings here by putting our first finger down, and that's what becomes the movable major seventh shape here. So this is indeed actually not a C major seventh, it's just a major seventh. In this case, this would be D. So B flat, B, C, C sharp, D. This would be D major seventh, but based off of this form. Okay? So that's originally from the open C shape, became the movable bar shape. So that's also off the fifth string root. So now we actually have two fifth string roots. We've got a root from the fifth string right here with a different type of voicing, and then we also have another one way up here now. If we were going to both play them in C, it would be up here. Okay, so that's a very effective voicing for major seventh. So that's from this form, and then of course we have to deal with the G shape. We still have this one left. Okay, so I remember showing you how we made this into a major seventh in a previous lesson by simply dropping the root on the top here to this to major seventh on the top, and then we've got a pretty usable open string major seventh chord. But that's not going to work very well if we want to go to a different key, right? That won't work. We can't just slide these open chords around. So what we do is we first of all, going back to the triad, to make it a movable triad, we move the whole thing up, and we've got this big bar shape right here. Okay? So that's okay for a major chord, but what do we do for a major seventh here? Well, here's how we have to modify this one. The major seventh, there's also a root is available up here, but what we do here is we go, okay, it's a lot of notes to hold down, so what we'll do is we'll get the major seventh right here. Now we have the major triad is right here, and then the seventh is right here. So we don't even have to play these in the bottom. So we're essentially going to make a major seventh by doing this. But it comes from this shape right here. Okay? It might not look like it, but this is really a major seventh chord originally from the G form. It's just played to make it more convenient without the root on the bottom and the third on the bottom. We have fifth, root, seventh, or a third right here, and then the seventh on the top. So that's our major seventh shape. Okay? So we just learned the major seventh shape from the fourth string, or the fifth string root right here. And another one, let's say if we were going to play them both in D, that would be right here. So we can play both of these now. Fifth string root here, and essentially third string root, because this is actually the root right there on the third string. But I kind of look at the orientation to figure this chord out by where the root would be if I played it with a finger that I had available. I don't know if I never play it like that, but that's how I would focus it. Or even maybe use the major seventh on the top as the guide note. So let's say I wanted to do it for E. I go, here's E, the major seventh's on top, so that's my reference. I just find I find the root, and then I put my fourth finger on the major seventh below it. Here's A, for example. There's A on top, and there's the major seventh below it. So you can see that it really is important to know where the names of the notes are on your strings, because you're constantly using them to find root locations in other tones when you're playing rhythm guitar. So you just can't know the notes on the low E and the low A. That's not good enough. You have to know the names of the notes up and down on all the strings eventually. We start off with a low E and A because that's what we're used to with these kinds of chords. But eventually you'll find a use, and you'll find a lot of extra knowledge in knowing the notes all up and down the neck on every string. Okay, so let's play a little exercise I came up with here. You can see it right behind me here. And I'm just going to focus on playing the chords that I just showed you just a second ago in this exercise. And let's go for just utilizing just the two shapes that we've got right here. So you can see D major seventh is available right here. Right? Remember, look for the root on the top string or on the bottom, and that's how you find it. And you can also see this triad is within the D form that you'd play right down here, or the D triad shape. So it's just building on that to make it convenient. Okay, so that's D major seventh here. And the next chord on the progression is G major seventh, and we know we're going to be playing the root on the fifth string here. So lo and behold, there it is. And in fact, you can even, actually, if you want, you can include all the way up to the high E string, because that note is just a double, it's just a third, so you can do all the way to the top. It sounds good. So it's a lot of notes there are just double. Okay, so we're D major 7 here, and G major 7. See how close those fit together? Okay, so the tricky thing about this chord, you have to be careful. Once again, you've got open strings here that you're not playing. So you just can't go. It's not going to sound good in every key, obviously. If I went down a half step, these notes have nothing to do with the chord here that I'm playing. So you really have to focus your energy and your pick on just the strings you're playing. So top 4 strings. On this chord, you know, the bottom string is really not being played, so you don't want to hit the bottom string, but you are playing down to at least the 5th string. So I use my thumb to kind of mute the low E string here. And I also use it actually to mute here as well. Okay? Now on my progression, it actually goes to another chord at the fifth bar. Right? It goes to B flat major 7. Okay? So what are we going to do there? Actually, seventh bar. What are we going to do there? Well, we're going to go to a B flat major 7th chord, but what do we want to do there? How about we play the B flat major 7? We'll use the same voicing, but we'll go up here. Okay, that's the closest position we can get to, because we could also play B flat major 7 down here with the other shape we learned, but let's just keep it in this general range. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. It's going to be D major, G major, D major again, and then B flat major up here. Okay, so let's bring on the band here. Let's check it out. Here we go.